Hi, good afternoon, everybody. This is York County Executive Ed Day. We are commencing our bi-weekly update on COVID-19 here in Rockland County. I'll remind everybody, have a pen and paper handy because we'll be giving information out during the course of this broadcast. Also, this is obviously going on Facebook Live, but we like to improve this so other people who don't have Facebook see it. So this video will be posted on YouTube after this is over, and we'll get that up on the website so people can link into it who don't have Facebook. Again, as we usually do, we have my proverbial man behind the curtain, John Lyon, my communications director. He's been taking in your questions, helping us out a bit so we can get good responses back to you all. So with that, John, let's have at it.
Okay. First, thank you to everyone who submitted questions and who has been reaching out. It's really helpful to hear what you're thinking and know what you're concerned about so we can address it properly. Our first question, part statement, part question. I'm aware of a store that's open every night, not practicing social distancing, and maybe a non-essential business. What should I do?
Okay, if you're of a mind to, you can go to ny.gov. That is the government website for New York State. And what you can do at that point is do your own research if you like. If you want to see if that type of business is allowed to be open as an essential business or not, so you can do that. If you are not in a mind of doing any investigations, it's very simple. In this particular case, you could contact your local police department as a rule, but in this particular case, it's preferable that you contact the New York State Governor's New York on Pause hotline. That's the best way to go, I think, at this point, because what they will do is they will vet your complaint. They will look up this location, see if it in fact is in violation, and they can they will send it down to us. There's 3 points of contact here in Rockland County: the sheriff, district attorney, and the deputy commissioner of health. So it'll be investigated by personnel down here from the Department of Health. So that number for the hotline, the Pause hotline, is 833-789-0470. But again, if it's something that's fluid, something that's quick, people are hanging out, that's really for the police to handle. Just call your local police department or call 911.
Okay. What if we're aware of single-family homes that have been illegally subdivided? Okay. People are concerned that more people living in a small space might be feeding into the spreading of this disease.
Very, very good question. We have had, since 2015, a very unique approach to illegal housing. It's called the Rockland Codes Initiative. They've been very successful. They are serving as a template for the entire state of New York on how to deal with illegal housing, and the fact that right now, yes, high-density housing is a seeming contributory factor to COVID-19 spread. So what you can do is go to our main page, rocklandgov.com, rocklandgov.com, and on the lower left-hand side, as I recollect, there you'll see an icon for RCI. Just click on that, and you'll be able to make a confidential report. Just put your details you can in there, and our inspectors will go out and check it out. Fines of this nature are levied up to $2,000 per day per violation. There are significant fines, which is why this approach has been so successful as opposed to going to the local justice court, which very much smaller fines are given out, and it's just a cost of doing business for a slumlord. The number for the COVID hotline you can call directly if you don't have an ability to get online. That number is 845-238-1956, 238-1956.
And what about people or groups of people who are not respecting social distancing and face covering rules? Right. Can law enforcement arrest people? What can be done out there?
Let's go chapter to verse. The county's public health orders, in addition to the governor's executive orders, provides for a clear standard of behavior. There's no equivocation, and it's enforceable by all local and state law enforcement agents. We went through great pains to ensure that anybody out there who would be involved in this will be able to enforce all those orders legally, in order to have the authority of law behind them. Criminal penalties that may be acted upon by law enforcement without the need for any health department intervention, they can act in their own and issue violations or arrest persons as necessary. If they observe gatherings of more than 10 people, for example. We have to understand something else. There's going to be a balance here. I could tell you as a former law enforcement person, In something like this, what's going to happen first, as a matter of rule, first time an officer encounters a bunch of people, they're going to be told to move along. They're going to be told to, break it up and just don't assemble. They'll be instructed. The idea is to gain compliance. They're not going to go to an arrest stage immediately because, for the fact of the matter is, you don't want to lose a police officer in the street doing other work right now and protecting our families and ensuring public safety. So it's a practical matter. However, criminal penalties that can be asserted for violations include Public Health Law 12B as in boy, that provides for a misdemeanor for a violation of any of the health department orders. Public Health Law 348 provides for a violation punishable on a conviction for a first offense by a fine of not more than $250 or imprisonment for not more than 15 days. That's a low-level misdemeanor. The fine and imprisonment for a second or subsequent offense now goes up to $500 or by imprisonment for not exceeding 15 days. County Sanitary Code, that's what's used by our RCI, Rockland Codes Initiative. That will also generate fines under Section 1.24, and in this particular case, it would be up to $1,000 per violation. So, the bottom line is that, the teeth for the law is there. It can be utilized. The idea here is compliance, and it's a balance that a law enforcement officer is going to have to strike when he or she encounters this. New York State law gives, we have some other question, I forgot about that.
Yeah, sort of leading into the next question, people have been asking, are the governor's orders constitutional? Is everything that's going on by the book, as they say?
Well, literally the same section of state law, the executive law, is the same section I use for emergency orders here in Rockland County. The New York State law gives broad authority and leeway to the governor or any executive official in terms of rules and criteria that they can set during emergencies to protect the public health and safety. None of the orders by the governor has been tested in court, so we don't know what would happen in a courtroom right now. All levels of government are working right now to see that they're enforced. This is necessary because we have a larger issue to deal with. We have to continue flattening the curve out. We have to continue getting a downward trend. We have to continue looking at how to reopen our local economy as soon as the governor allows. There are things that myself and fellow county executives are not really agreeable with as it relates to how the governor has been taking this matter forward. But all the county executives understand one thing. We don't criticize the person who's leading. That is just something that runs counter to dealing with any crisis. It just does not work. There's a time and a place. We express our differences privately, quietly as we can. The idea here is to work together whenever possible. We don't go to that other issue unless it is unbelievable. If it's completely something we can't avoid, then we have to go to that. But we try to avoid that, obviously.
And we just had a very nice weekend. A few residents asking about parks here. Who's responsible for monitoring Rockland Lake for compliance with mask wearing, groups gathering, barbecuing, that type of thing? And can town parks enforce restrictions of residents only?
Okay. First of all, the New York State's park system is responsible for monitoring any activity within Rockland Lake and all of our state parks. If you see a violation, you can report them to the New York State Parks Police, and I'll give you the number. You can call them direct at 845-786-2781, 845-786-2781. If you don't have the number with you, if you call 911, the call will be routed to the Parks Police if that's what the issue is. But remember something, if it's a serious emergency, 911 all the time. That's the quickest way to get a radio call to the scene. As far as the update in the county parks from the past weekend, overall, in our county parks, everything went smoothly. There were no major problems there. Most people wearing masks, maintaining social distancing, and generally being responsible. Of course, there's always a few who don't. We understand that. They stand like sore thumbs sometimes. The major issues we saw were not in the town parks. There were very few issues reported back to us through the town supervisors or the village mayors. The major issues we had were in the north end of the county at Bear Mountain State Park, Harriman, Seven Lakes Drive. That was really the biggest issue up there. Just be assured, again, that is the state handles that. I have had numerous conversations with the governor's people and the state parks personnel about dealing with that, and most importantly, on 9W, it becomes a traffic nightmare and a danger to people who are trying to navigate through that area. There needs to be enforcement there. I made that very clear. Hopefully they will have a better approach to that area up at the north end of the county. Like I said, there's always a few. The idea here is to make sure that we have as much green space as possible so people can go to the park, that there is no overcrowding. I'll remind people that we were able to get New Jersey to open their parks in Bergen. Actually, it was the whole state, as long as the county executives approve it. But I reached out to Jim Tedesco, my counterpart in Bergen County. We have a very good relationship. He reached out to Governor Murphy. I reached out to Governor Cuomo. The two governors did speak, recognize the impact of having Jersey parks closed, Rockland parks open. We were getting overwhelmed, even worse than whatever you might have seen this past weekend. Right now, both parks are open, both Bergen County and Rockland County. We've been very clear to our constituents, our residents here, to try to stay within your own county, to go to those parks only, not to cross over. And I think that was very helpful in moderating things. But more importantly, I always say there's always a few. I want to thank the vast majority of people who are out there who did the right thing. They were responsible. They wore face coverings. This is the only way that we can ensure that we can have safety in those parks. So I just ask people to continue doing what they're doing. We want to move on because our local economy in particular, getting back to where we were through the steps we're going to have to take, part of that is the significant part of it is predicated upon people not getting ill. So if you continue to practice the right measures to ensure that you don't get sick and you don't get anybody else sick, that is a quicker ticket to getting ourselves back to normal again.
Okay. And speaking to reopening the economy, getting sort of back on track here, is there a plan of action on reopening Rockland County? This person was asking or believed it was up to each county executive how that goes.
No, no, it's not. There is a plan, and it's an opportunity to really speak to this, which I think that people want to hear exactly what's going on. There's a plan on the state level to open regionally. That means a number of counties will be considered a region, and I don't remember the exact number, maybe 7 or 8 regions that are actually involved here, but it's a regional approach, and the logic behind it is that people in Rockland will often go to Orange or Westchester County. People, in Putnam will go to Westchester and other counties in that area. So, it's understandable that they want to do it regionally. We're in the Mid-Hudson region. That question has come up a number of times. Westchester, Orange, Ulster, Dutchess, Putnam, and Sullivan counties. That is our region. Each region needs to meet these 7 criteria before reopening. So the entire region, averaged out, has to meet the criteria, and this is the way it works. A hospitalization decline, 14 days of decline based on 3-day averages. The death in hospitals, the decline in hospital deaths, 14-day decline based on 3-day average. New hospitalizations under 2 people per 100,000 residents based on a 3-day average. For Rockland County, that would be in the vicinity of 6 or 7, it would be. Total beds available, again, something very important. Have at least 30% total hospital beds available. Intensive care units needs that same 30% threshold of open beds. Having enough PPE, personal protection equipment, 90 days of PPE stockpiled in each hospital. Diagnostic testing capacity. Have the capacity to conduct 30 diagnostic tests for every 1,000 residents per month. So after meeting all that criteria, the governor's plan calls for a phased approach to reopening. Now, some may agree with all this, some are part of it, but this is how it's laid out right now. I'm sure that if circumstances warrant, there may be amendments as we go forward. Phase 1, the initial reopening of the economy. Construction, manufacturing, wholesale supply chain, and select retail. There'll be mainly curbside pickups. Phase 2 would fall to professional services, finance and insurance, retail, administrative support, real estate, rental leasing. That will all be part of Phase 2. Phase 3, restaurants and food services, hotels and accommodations. Phase 4, arts, entertainment, recreation, and education. We don't know the timeline between Phase 1, 2, 3, 4. It could be relatively rapid. It may be slower. We don't know that, okay? These are things that are all working its way through the State House right now, and we're here to translate as best as we can to the people here in Rockland County. I can tell you now that we are watching the criteria closely, and what we have done, we've already begun outreach to businesses that will be able to reopen in phase 1 to assess their needs. That is very, very important. This is something we're not waiting for the last minute. We're actively engaged in doing that, and we're engaged in doing that in cooperation with our town supervisors and all of our village mayors. As a matter of fact, Monday we have a conference call set up to specifically go over a number of the issues that are attendant to reopening our economy and how we can do it in the most facilitative way possible. It is critically important that we get that right. And the other piece is going to be, people are understandably skittish a bit about even getting out right now because of this virus. It's going to be important that businesses understand that and make sure they provide for their workers an ability to have some sense of faith that where they're going is going to be a clean place, that they're not overexposing themselves to a high level of risk. We are planning to have the appropriate actions ready so we can hit the ground running and get our residents back to work.
And sort of talking about those criteria, people are asking, is there a month-to-month breakdown of cases in Rockland, and how are the numbers at the local hospitals right now? Okay.
Again, this is what you see on the dashboard when you take a look at the online at the Rockland County, rocklandgov.com website. There's a lot of different things you can do with that dashboard. The Rockland County COVID-19 dashboard has been updated to include additional data. There are now 2 charts available. The first shows the number and date of positive tests and overall tests. The second shows our hospital data, which is separated numbers into 2 categories: those hospitalized who have been confirmed to have COVID-19 and those who are under investigation for COVID-19. These numbers continue to decline, but to share some specifics, and this is good news. 3 weeks ago, on April 14th, the total for both categories, those who were hospitalized either with confirmed or suspected COVID-19, was 332. 2 weeks ago, on April 21st, it was 287, a decline. A week ago, on April 28th, the total was 232, 55 less. And today, it is under 200 at 184. So we're making significant progress right now in knocking down the trends to a specific downward trend here in Rockland County. It shows that we're moving in the right direction, which is why it's so important that we operate in a rational, sane manner to make sure we get everything back up and running. The pressure on the hospitals has somewhat abated. They've done yeoman's work, and I can't say enough for our nurses and healthcare officials, the doctors and our healthcare workers in Good Sam and in Nyack Montefiore. Not to mention, of course, all of our health workers, our EMTs, law enforcement, fire department, all those folks who have been out there on the front line trying to take care of us. This is accomplished largely because of better hygiene, social distancing, adhering to some of the rules that have been laid out. But however, let's understand something. We have had the negative side of this. 551 of our fellow Rocklanders have died, and for that, it's just one death is too much. To hear 551 is just a staggering number. And our nursing homes also, which is something we are looking at. I know a lot of people out there are concerned, have loved ones in nursing homes. Sadly, we've lost potentially, and I say potentially because there's still some work being done on whether or not it's a confirmed case of COVID-19. It could be up to 94 of our people have died in nursing homes or in the adult care facilities. So that's something we're keeping an eye on, and the State Department of Health has been working very diligently on trying to get to the bottom of that.
Okay. And what can you share with us in terms of good news today?
Good news.
What positives are happening here in Rockland County?
We have a couple of positives here. Somebody handed them to me. I think it was you. One I actually got, the big one I got that sent to me just actually about 10 minutes ago. But we're going to have the Salvation Army is doing a food giveaway for families in Rockland County. Over 24,000 pounds of food is going to be distributed on this Thursday, May 7th. That's a couple days away, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. while the food lasts. And this will be at the Salvation Army, 179 North Main Street in Spring Valley. So again, 2 days from today, Thursday, May 7th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., as long as the food lasts, at the Salvation Army, 179 North Main Street in Spring Valley. If you have a need, please, this is what all these wonderful organizations are here for. This is why we support them in county government, so they can do things like this, especially in times of crisis, to give everybody a hand. The other good news, frankly, is the trending. We're trending downward. That's very, very good news. It wasn't that long ago where we were spiking, and it was really a frightening experience for many people. We're trending in the right direction now because we're doing the right thing by and large. The other good news I want to share is that I got an email from maybe 20 minutes ago from the Chief Operating Officer of Pfizer, from the Vaccine and Research and Development section. On March 17th, there was a partnership formed with a company called BioNTech in Germany, and there was work going to start being done on trying to find a vaccine for COVID-19. I am happy to report, as of moments ago, there was an announcement made that the first participants have been dosed in the U.S. in phase 1 and 2 of clinical trial for the BNT 162 vaccine program to prevent COVID-19. So we have had people actually getting the vaccine, and now the testing goes on whether or not that vaccine is going to be effective. That is a tremendous, tremendous thing to say. And I will say with great pride, I hope everybody out there can agree with me, it is wonderful to see this happening within a company from here in Rockland County. Once again, and I've said it before, when the chips are down, Rockland leads the way. It's very important. Look, one thing I do want to say here, I had something I asked John if I could show it to everybody. I want to show you something I took off Facebook. I'm going to separate a bit. Okay. Can we see that, John?
Yep.
Okay. At the top it says, believe it or not, it's okay to be all three. Either being a person taking coronavirus seriously, person very concerned about the impending economic devastation, and people worried about expansion of authoritarian government policies. And if you see with the arrow says me there. My point here is this, and I will tell you this as the chief executive of the entire county of Rockland. We have worked very diligently with a lot of people to get things done here in Rockland, to find a solution out of a crisis. I am proud to be able to count among my partners our 5 town supervisors, our 19 village mayors, and a variety of other people outside of government who've been there all the time. But at the end of the day, the elected officials tend to get the brunt of it as a rule, and that's something we willingly take on, because if we didn't want to do this, I mean, if I didn't love this job, there's no way I'd be doing it. But I do thoroughly enjoy serving the people of Rockland County. But I want to make note of those other elected officials who meet regularly, try to get everything done properly, and whether it be, meetings, listening on going to numerous telephone conferences right now, just to get the best information. And my point of this is very simple. Those supervisors, those village mayors, have good hearts. They are family men and women who live here in Rockland County, just trying to do the right thing. And I just want to take a moment to acknowledge that. I think it's good to say it once in a while so people can really hear it. So what I'm trying to say here is that we all pledge to do what we can do to make sure that we come out the other side here. And not just come out the other side, but come out stronger than ever. I do have a couple of phone numbers I'm going to share with some of you, with all of you here. The Department of Health hotline number in Rockland County, 845-238-1956, 238-1956. That you could leave a message there if you like, but people will pick that line up daytime hours 8 to 4 roughly. The governor's office. Should you have questions about the governor's emergency orders, things like that, the orders are created there. Staff there will happy to answer your questions if you do need to call there. 518-474-8390. 518-474-8390. The State Department of Health hotline appointments, for example, if you want to get tested. Information is being available. It's a 24/7 hotline. That number is 888-364-3065, 888-364-3065. 3065. The pause hotline, which I mentioned earlier, these are for complaints of violations of the emergency orders that have been laid out, or things that you believe are violations. This is manned up in Albany. They will vet your complaint, send it down to us, and we will investigate it. The number is 833-789-0470, 833-789-0470, 24/7 line. It's always available. You may have to leave a message, but they will get back to you. Well, we will get back to you if we get the information down here. Finally, our website in Rockland County, rocklandgov.com, rocklandgov.com. And again, as I mentioned earlier, if you have any questions about the emergency orders, or if you want to go to the state website for any particular reason, unemployment, for example, ny.gov, ny.gov. And in closing, let's be very honest about this. This is a struggle of our generation. This is what is going to define us going forward. How we respond. What do we do? How do we handle this crisis? How do we get through the other side stronger than ever before? That is up to us. And the best way we can do that is work together, never forget who we are, what we're about, and let's make sure we're there for each other. With that, we'll be seeing you Thursday, 2 days, Thursday, for our next update. Thank you very much for joining us.